I like to look at the change and challenges that are facing us today. Okay? Socrates said that the secret of change is to focus all of our energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Very wise statement. There's nothing you can do about disruption. It's coming anyway. It's no point resisting it. What can you do? Build on the change. Build on the transformation that's coming. Build on the digital economy. Let's look at the change ahead. The factors that are changing the world as we know it today, there are quite a number of factors, but I'd like you to consider the following factors. Let's look at the technological invasion, the aging population as another factor, the changing fabric of community, the changing social fabric of how people are changing in their attitudes, in their tastes, and everything else. And we're going to look into the entrepreneurship leadership and how entrepreneurial development and leadership, how is it linked? Looking at technological invasion, I'd just like you to look at this graph. Okay? We are moving towards a culture of digital transformation. There is no doubt about it. Over the last 5 years, digital companies and organizations has basically topped the list. In 2013, the top 5 companies, as you can see, from Apple to Exxon, all these companies, the top 5 companies, 4 of which are basically traditional businesses, oil businesses, large businesses, and so on. In 5 years, 2018, the top 5 companies are digital companies, okay? And basically, much more than that, their revenues have also almost doubled from what it was from before. So you see how in a very short period where traditional companies need to grow organically because they need to set up more shops, they need to set up more operations, they need to scale up. With the development of technological innovation, we are talking about development of the S-curve. There are certain businesses that can basically grow very fast in a very short period of time. And this is what's happening. We need to be on board the S-curve. We need to be able to be there to ride the wave so that we don't lose out on it. Thailand has many advantages. Its creativity and innovation is one of its strong points. We need to be able to educate, nurture, and basically assist startups and companies that are on the verge of this S-curve to move it up and take advantage of the ASEAN market and the global market. One of the things that will affect the development of the world in terms of taste and taste and products and so on is the aging population. In 2012, 11% of the world population, 6.9 billion people, are 60 years and above. In 2050, that number is expected to double to 22%. By the time the world population is expected to be 9 billion people. What does that mean to us? It means that services from the young industry that are basically focused on the young society now will start slowly shifting to the older generation as the population ages. Look at Japan, for example, that has a very aging population. We are talking about development of services, robotics, transformation businesses that actually caters to the elderly, okay? And this is a market that is gradually growing as we move into that. And it's good in a way because now we have so many things that's coming up like robotics, blockchain, digital transformation, and all the technologies that's coming on is making it easier, or rather creating more opportunities to create new services and products for the aging industry. As it is now, whatever they're experiencing now with the current younger generation, they are going to be aging, and they'll be looking for new products and services that will cater for a different set of generation. Another important factor that I'd like you to consider is that the social fabric of the world is actually changing. We are seeing people with changing attitudes. People are looking at things very differently. Yeah? People, for example, after the post-war period, we came from a space where, scarcity of resources. After the war, you need to make a living, you need to, build a business, you need to get a good job, and so on. That attitude has changed now because most of the younger generation now has grown up in a much more comfortable position, and they're looking at things in a very different way. They are not spending money so much. There's a report that says that young people are not spending too much money on physical things like cars and houses, but they're spending it on experience. We're seeing people traveling more now. We're seeing people spending more money on experiences, gaming, and and all kinds of things that actually give them the experience and so on. We see the emergence of new sports and more entertainment and so on. We also see a changing shift into what I would call this sharing community. Now, in the past, so the past generation, if you own a car or you own an apartment or you own some space, you don't really want to share with someone. You don't just pick up someone on the street and, hey, come share my car with me. But today, the new generation, we're seeing the emergence of a sharing economy with organizations of companies like Uber, Grab, Airbnb. People are sharing their own private space. There's even talk about, the new generations are not buying cars anymore because it's so easy to, use an Uber or a Grab, or, and there's even talk about, for example, Airbnb, they have about, I think the last I heard, 1 billion rooms now, and they don't own any of these rooms, not like hotels, where you have to actually build the infrastructure and so on. So there's a whole changing landscape. The whole social fabric is being disrupted. And the new generation obviously has a very different attitude towards what's happening in the world now. I'd like you to consider also the leadership that's happening around the world now, okay? Because have you noticed that, young generations are starting to know entrepreneurs much more than democratic leaders? The democratic leaders comes and go. But the people, the faces like Jack Ma, the faces like Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, and Tony Fernandez, for example, for the AirAsia and so on, these faces are being ingrained into the young people now. And as a result, they're starting entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are starting to be the new leaders of tomorrow. So Clem Blanchard said that the key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority. Around the world, with the emergence of YouTube, there are communities, huge communities, are following what we call influencers. Okay? Marketing has changed now. Instead of advertising now, many marketing companies and people are actually turning to influencers to influence certain groups of people. Okay? So we have famous followers with a few 100,000 or few millions or even a few tens of millions following them on the social media. So influencing the community, is a way where, by default, they are actually becoming leaders in their own way, influencing a certain group of people. John Quincy Adams said that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. The situation is this: entrepreneurs are inspiring others by doing things they dream about, by solving problems, by providing something that's never been there before, becoming more creative and innovative. Entrepreneurship and leadership, how is it linked? How do we link it? Consider that entrepreneurs might be a force for change in their country beyond just economic change. They can actually make the world a better place. I would say that the world needs more entrepreneurs. It is now a question of inspiring more people to recognize that it is more important to the future of society than they previously recognized. with entrepreneurs in the past, they grow organically, they learn their own lessons and so on. Of course, you can take a course in entrepreneurship and so on, but basically, you have to be on the ground to solve a problem. But today, with the growing population, with the complexity of the world's development now, with the technology and changing social fabric, it is more important now that we educate the young generation to what entrepreneurship is about, how we can progress and how we can make it work better, and more importantly, and you will hear me saying this again and again, develop and nurture entrepreneurs that are inclusive. Now, why entrepreneurship? Simply because 70% of all human activities is about business. Okay? This is why it is so important that the understanding of business is conducted in a manner that is inclusive for the well-being of the individuals in society. Okay? If you look at it, economics or business is the only mechanism in this planet that is truly crossing boundaries. There's no other mechanism like politics, military, or religion can cross boundaries. As a result of this, I would like to share with you and encourage you to look at entrepreneurship as a new leaders of tomorrow, because with this globalization, you need to cross boundaries, and you need to cross boundaries in a way that does not cause conflict. Entrepreneurs are the only group of people that can do that. Let's step back and look at what's happening in this region. Okay? These are the 10 key statistics of the world in 2030. Let me highlight a few of them. The first one is that we are in the ASEAN or Asia Pacific region. Almost half the world, more than half the world population in 2030 will be living in the Asia Pacific region. We're going to be in a very busy part of the world. That also means the more people there are, the more activities there are more opportunities growing for us. In 2030, the average global population will be 35 years old. Okay? And 60% of these people will be living in the cities, the urban areas, and so on. The ASEAN market itself is a huge market. With a population of over 600 million, the GDP of over 3 billion, and the third largest economy of the world, consider this. We here in Thailand have the opportunity to tap onto this huge market that can be developed, but and it's the first time in history we are able to reach this whole market conveniently through our laptop, through digitalization, through whatever resource we can gain. And the advantage that Thailand has in the Mekong region, we are quite centralized. We got very good transportation. We got very good, in fact, we have a very good reputation because we have the highest tourist numbers coming to Thailand in this region. These are all things that we can definitely take advantage of. And as a result, we can sell and export our creativity, export our tourism, and export our digital advantage. We must take advantage to build our digital advantage. I would like to also have you consider the following challenges. These are the challenges that there are many challenges. I like to focus on these 4 challenges to see how we can move ahead. There's going to be obviously education challenges, political challenges. There's always, it has and is and will always be political challenges that we need to go through. Then there's economic growth, that we need to look at what economic growth is about. And I come back to the same thing about entrepreneurship and leadership.